This past summer, my wife and I went on our honeymoon to Washington. While we were there, we visited the city of Seattle, some of the surrounding towns, Forks, Washington, and all three national parks: North Cascades, Mount Rainier, and Olympic. Our honeymoon in Washington was absolutely gorgeous, and I cannot recommend visiting this state enough. From an incredible aquarium to oceanside views to seeing the beautiful attractions in Seattle, Washington easily is one of my top five favorite states to visit. Sadly, I had a terrible sinus infection throughout the first half of our honeymoon, so we didn't really get to do much hiking at North Cascades. With that in mind, we mainly stuck to the highway, stopping at overlooks and some of the small trails and walks along the way. Even just driving the highway showcased immense beauty. From the mountains to the rich blue waters and waterfalls, it was well worth the visit. It's interesting though, because this is one of the least visited national parks, even though it didn't feel like that when we were there, as there were multiple places with completely full parking lots. Most people actually don't step foot inside the park itself, rather, they just visit the close recreation areas within the complex. In the comments, let me know if you think visiting the complex at all counts as visiting the park. For our second day, we went to some attractions around the city. Our first stop was the Pike's Place Market. It had an energy I've never seen anywhere else. There was the infamous gum wall, which I happily added my contribution to. People were throwing fish, there were free samples left and right. It was amazing. We then visited the Seattle Aquarium. I loved it, and I think for the price, it was well worth it. From there, we then visited the area with the Space Needle as we wanted to go see the Chihuly Glass Museum. Ever since I was a kid, I've been enamored with his work since I first saw it all the way back at the Indianapolis Children's Museum. This gallery was spectacular, and I would love to go back. This little area alone could easily occupy a few days, and next time I will be checking out some of the other attractions here. Thankfully, by day three, I was feeling a bit better, and we had Mount Rainier on the itinerary. I've never seen a mountain as imposing as Mount Rainier is. This mountain is incredible, and every view is completely postcard worthy. With the beauty of it in mind, every single person wants to see it, so be very prepared for lots of people and make sure you get your timed entry reservations. We saw multiple people get turned around at the entrance. If you can get in, however, it is so worth it. From the waterfalls to the mountain itself, it is absolutely stunning. Be sure to stop at Narada Falls, as it is absolutely one of my favorite waterfalls I have ever seen in my life. There was a rainbow while we were there because of the moisture and the mist, and it was absolutely stunning. So please go check that out if you get to visit. Normally, I have some semblance of a script I try to read from when I narrate for these videos. However, for the Olympic National Park section, I'm just going to kind of talk from my heart. Olympic is hands down one of my favorite national parks I have ever been to. I could spend a lifetime there and still feel like I haven't seen everything. From the rich waterfalls to the lush rainforests, Olympic is such a beautiful, incredible place, and arguably one of my favorite places I've ever had the privilege of going to. It all was just beautiful. I don't think there is a single bad spot of Olympic National Park, even from the towns within the park itself. They're beautiful as well. I would love to go back and spend a month, a week, a year, a lifetime again. Olympic is just incredible. We saw Marimere Falls, we saw Madison Falls, we saw all the different beaches from Kalaloch, I hope I said that right, to Second Beach to La Push. It was incredible. Lake Crescent was a beautiful area, and truly, I just feel grateful that I even had the opportunity to go here. If I get back to Washington in the near future, I'm going to try and make a pit stop here again because I didn't see it all and I don't think you can. So I would love to go back and see it again. It is gorgeous. If you can only hit one national park in Washington, make sure it's Olympic because it is incredible. One of my favorite pictures I've ever taken was at this park, specifically at this beach during a double low tide. There were starfish everywhere, anemones. It was beautiful, and the hike to get there was stunning as well. If I can give only one tip for Olympic, it's make sure you give it enough time. We had 3 days in Olympic, and I still feel like we could have spent more time there. Because my wife is such a huge fan of the Twilight series, it's actually why we picked Washington for our honeymoon. So, along the way, you'll see a lot of stops that inspired some of the key locations from the movies and also what inspired the setting of the book. We stayed in Forks, Washington for 3 nights, and it was an incredible experience. Even though it's a quaint small town, there is so much love for the movies and the books there that it's around every corner. They've really kind of commodified the ways that the book influences the town, and we love it. So, all in all, this is kind of what we did over about a 9 day period in Washington. And I highly, highly recommend that you go. Additionally, if you do visit Forks, make sure you stop into the Twilight Museum as they have a lot of cool props from the movies, different editions of the books, and just so much cool stuff. So, again, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will hopefully have another video out in the coming months. So, stick around, make sure you've liked, subscribed, all that good stuff. And I will see you next time.